Hello. Today I'm excited to bring you a tour of some of the bank blinds that we have on our property. There are some positives and negatives of any type of blind, including the bank blinds. Some things that I really like about the bank blind: I like the roto-molded solid piece construction. I know I can trust that they're sturdy. I think they do a great job of containing scent, and I love that they're made fairly locally in Minnesota. I'm in Wisconsin, and I love supporting local companies. I think they're very comfortable for one person. I think they're very easy to get up with height as a limiting factor. They are hard to get over 12 feet, I would say. And overall, for one person, I would definitely recommend a bank blind. I have had two hunters in there, the BE bunch. We have some young hunters, and it is doable with two, but it is a little tight. And for me, as a taller guy, I'm 6'4", it's pretty hard to bow hunt out of them. So Banks has come up with some new models with more visibility, and I think that they have listened to their customers and figured this all out. That's another plus of the company. I'm wearing my Banks hat. I support them, and I do have three, and I do appreciate the dealer I bought them from. I think he's a great guy, and I want to support him as a business owner too. But in terms of gun hunting, you probably have other options. The permanent blinds, like some of the ones you can build yourself, might overall be cheaper. But if you are limited on time, I'd say the Banks blind is a great way to go. So thank you for watching today's video. I'll take you to different blinds that I have in different locations and try to give you all the little things I've learned along the way. So thank you for watching today's video and supporting this channel. And it is a great day to be outdoors. Just wanted to start this tour with some drone footage just to show you how these Banks blinds blend in. So we're flying into, it's my dad's Banks blind, and he's got the best window treatments. You can see from the outside how they completely shade in the area that you don't want to have seen. You can make out that base as well. Now I just thought this would be fun. This is a Creek Bottoms Banks blind. It's kind of out in the open, and so I'm going to fly you in from pretty high, and then I'm going to take you down closer to it again. And I wanted to mention the round shape is very, very good for these things too. Round is natural, and I think that's one of Banks' selling points. And they do blend in even out in the open fairly well. I mean, obviously you can see this is sticking up out of the creek bottom, but the round shape is definitely good. And then it's fairly easy to get them to where they need to go. So this is wet some of the time, and I just tipped this Banks over on a trailer and was able to just haul it in with an ATV. And it doesn't take more than one person just to tip it up and off. I do think they're harder to get up on site than they show you in the different clips you might see on YouTube, or maybe I'm missing something, but I had to use that tree right behind the Banks in order to leverage it into place. So this is going to be a tour and review, and apologize for being out of breath. I'm excited. I don't want to wait to start this. So this is the one Banks blind that was on the property line before we were blessed to get the new piece. You can see my paint job. I'll explain that, but basically I just take cardboard, make a couple different shapes, move the shapes around, overlap the shapes, and then use different color matte finish camo paint from Rust-Oleum. And then you make the base 4x4s. These stabilizers aren't doing anything. Extra pieces of wood. Some old deck boards that a buddy gave to me, and then I make a template for these steps to keep them all the same length. And I think only other thing I need to do is use about this height, and I'll tell you what that is. I'd have to measure it, and then use more math because I kind of short stepped myself on that last one. So this distance, whatever it is about perfect. I have another one, it's not perfect, and then just even them all out. So about this distance, but evened out. I throw an extra 4x4 in after I put the steps in, just for extra support, extra cross bracing with 1x4s. I don't know what those are, I'm sorry. And then sorry about that. I anchored them into the ground by taking a T-post, drilling a hole into it, Already have it attached to the stand, and then pounding it in super tight. So this is not going to go anywhere. And then king of overkill, I found some sandstone up here, put that around the legs, had a leftover piece of T-post, put that behind the leg. I just like to overdo everything I do so I don't have to undo it. But we may actually end up moving this one. So another pan up of it. Next thing I'm gonna do is show you inside and tell you some of my thoughts. So we're inside the bank blind right now. I apologize for the echo. I'm also gonna try not to talk like I'm hunting. It's hard to be in a blind and talk at full volume. So this is a window that we actually put in after the fact. So I bought a bow model of these bank blinds. I'll look up the exact model, and we actually probably will never use these for bow hunting. So my first negative would be, if you're a tall guy like me, I'm 6'4", I can't really draw back sitting down unless I pick a window. It's just the bow has to almost be out the window. Now, positive, I'm standing up and I am not hitting my head at all. So that's a good thing. So they have made a new model now that has gun windows all the way around. And so every blind spot that you see right now, they have a window. And if I ever was to do it again, I would just do that. And we may buy another one, but I also want to work on buying my own. So, or building my own rather. So these are the views of the windows. I'm gonna take you to another one that actually has curtains in it already. It's definitely better than this one that doesn't. The other one also has soundproofing in it. That was what my dad bought. He spent a little bit more than I did. So here's a view of me standing up, and then I'll just take a view of me sitting in an office chair just a sec. All right, so here's the view from inside the bank blind, sitting in an office chair, and you can see obviously that the windows are definitely at a better height than from when I was standing. And you get an office chair, you swivel around, you can see all these different views. And for one person, this is a great stand. It's comfortable, it's big enough, you can stand in it. But for me and a kid, it gets a little tight. Doable, warm for sure, but just a little tight for you, 2 chairs and all your gear. So I would say this is a better stand for one person than 2. Now you'll notice the burlap over the windows. That's window treatments with black on the inside would be way better. They do sell those for the higher grade model. I went for the base model. And my dad has taken some liberties in here because he's an old pro hunter, and he's figured out where he wants the burlap and which windows he's going to get his primary shots out of and his primary views out of. And he's burlap below them. And I'm going to make some windows with magnets so you can adjust them along the sides for all these different blinds. And I've also learned the hard way that it'd be nice if the window ended here so you had a rest to shoot off of. All our blinds we put shooting sticks in, and my dad makes his own, but I have adjustable shooting sticks for myself and all the boys. And another suggestion would just be to leave them in the blinds. Now, kind of a funny thing, my dad's an old pro. He's a really dang good hunter, and he doesn't really do well with scent control though. So I'm gonna tell you 2 things here. So this is for a equipment hanger or a bow hanger, and my dad decided to make a clothesline because there's a saying in our hometown, and it's sweat like in our last name. So he sweats walking in here no matter what, and so he has developed a clothesline system. Sorry to pan over here, and he hangs his clothes on it to dry. And I came in here and he actually had a sweaty shirt on the clothesline, and I just laughed. But it serves a purpose, but it doesn't really work for the old scent control thing. But these things, speaking of scent control, they're pretty tight. They do have air vents on the top, and I've seen guys that have made like snorkels and stuff to get the scent even higher, maybe with a charcoal filter. I saw that in a video. I would love to try that. I can never tell if it actually works or not though, but that's somebody else's idea. So, and then down on the ground here, we got our standard Mr. Buddy. It's a good suggestion is to always bring the LP and the Buddy in early. We leave the Mr. Buddy in here already. I'm guessing that's for my dad. I could assume what that's used for, You know, so hey, another repurposer. I guess I get it from him. Some baling twine. You never know what you're going to use that for. So he's got that and everything. Seat cushion, and then a swivel chair. So just a tour of the inside. You know, they do come with a rubber floor. Dad decided to put more carpet down on top of that. I think the more the better for scent control. They do have a cubby in the door, and they do have a shelf above the door. There you go. You can kind of see the depth of that. So these are nice. They're comfy. The only drawback is if they get any moisture in them, they use OSB for the floor, and I have seen that, and I've heard others comment that sometimes molds, and that's just not a good thing. Just wanted to talk about the windows in the Banks blind a little bit. They're good. They have a big, nice seal on them, and that's my office chair. And when you pull all these things down, they push in really nice. So it's a thicker plexiglass, and then you push, this puts pressure back on the seal, and they stay shut as long as whoever used the blind last shuts them all, so, or turns them all in. So what I always do is when I get into the stand, I usually know which windows I'm going to use, and I, even before light, work those open, and then whatever, and then I might leave a window or two shut, but with the seals or the clamps open, so that I can open if I need to. These windows do fog up, but if you run a heater, they on fog really easily, and then obviously the more airflow you have, the less you have to deal with that. So good windows. Another positive. Quiet floor, positive. Get a good chair. Got a couple hangers like I mentioned before. Headroom is great. Drawback is not really a bow stand, and Banks has improved their product line by offering more windows, and that gives you more freedom for more shots in terms of what you want to cover up and what you want to use for your shots. So I forgot to mention the doors. The doors are great. They have quite the sealing mechanism on them with quite the weather seal. Hold on, I'll shut this for you. So push it in, it's a little loud. Cranker, and it's tighter than a drum. And some versions are actually lockable. Drawback though, it is a little precarious stepping out, especially if you have gear on. So, I mean, I'm sure they make a platform with a landing, and that would be better, but obviously more conspicuous. Your blind's gonna come on a pallet, and it's gonna have the frame with the 4x4 holders already on it. So that metal frame is part of your blind, and so are those 4x4 holders is what I'll call them. So you leg screw into those. And what I did is, and I think this is what they tell you to do, is you make the frame on its, or you make your frame on its side, and then you're supposed to be able to pull it up with the side-by-side or four-wheeler. I have an 800 Polaris HO, and it could not even budge this. So what I ended up doing is I used two different come-alongs and a ladder as a fulcrum, and I have videos of that. And then you find a tree, and it happened to be that tree, and you use that as your cranking point. And this one did just fine with the legs. You know, there's some pressure on the bottom legs, and maybe you guys have some better ideas on how to avoid putting all that extra weight on the legs. But another one, I had the legs cracked, so I had to splint it, you know, but it's still fine, it's still sturdy. And, you know, maybe a guy could have the potential to, you know, make a bigger platform and or use a skid steer or something and just do this in place, but I didn't. And so I got the Banks blind up here with a buddy's skid steer. This was a good spot for that. And then I built the base and then cranked it over myself. Now, these are not that hard to tip over as they lie. So I brought this up on a flat trailer with a four-wheeler and then tipped it off just fine and then built it. And you could easily do that too. And then it's just getting them up that becomes a little bit tricky. The videos show that it's like no problem, and it's not as easy as it looks. It just isn't. All right, so here's another bank spline of ours, and the first thing that maybe doesn't jump out to you is the window treatments. Window treatments on a blind, yep. These are the ones from Banks. They are solid material. That's what you need. The burlap you can see through, and it doesn't really do a great job. So this was set up to be just the perfect height for whoever was shooting. This is a 12-footer, and this one I hauled in. You know, you can see the base there, and then built this on site, and then used the big trees behind me. And then I had to wiggle this back because I put it right up against these basswoods just to blend it in. And I'll take you down the tractor road entry trail in a second to show you how it blends in from the different sides. And I think I have some drone footage from a different day, but you kind of get the idea. I throw brush in front of the base here, and then she sticks in there nice and blends in really, really nice. So there's the banks from 40 yards away. It's at eye level because the tractor trail goes down. One thing, which isn't really part of this video, but one thing I might do is from where I'm standing on, I might really beef up the fence and really make a barrier so that they have to go from either the crest of this hill or maybe even a little bit closer. So this could be one example of manipulating a bow shot out of that window if you had the right wind. So a south wind, southwest wind, because this is on the property line. And I've talked about how those windows aren't very usable, but in that case, you can make for a fun sit, a late season sit or whatever, because this is right off of the cornfield. And if you did all that, you beat this up, they would definitely use the path of least resistance instead of like skirting through wherever. Now, you have a rifle shot to about where I am now standing at a deer because you'd be shooting into the ground. But there is a road behind you, and so that's another thing to take into account with where you put your stands. But down here, absolutely, but you know, you're also looking at almost point blank range. Not that it doesn't happen, because here's one of the major crossings right here. So maybe cheat that in even just a little bit for a bow shot if you could see them coming or going, and be an opportunity to use this for both. So here we are at the base. You can see the macro pattern camo that I put on there. I love the way that black kind of just breaks everything up. And then those other colors, they're more for us than the animals, because I think deer, they call them monochromatic, if I'm not mistaken, which means they don't see most colors. I think it's hypothesized or theorized they might see blue, but not as much brushing along the base here. Same step pattern as the second and third one I ever did. I used the same width. And again, at the top, you'd want to make sure you don't short foot yourself. The only challenging part of these things is actually opening the door, getting in and out. I mean, I'm sure there's a way around that if you wanted to build a platform, but then you wouldn't have the slant to go in and out. So I do is I put the legs on, and then I build this frame around the bottom. Then I just beef it up with whatever I got left. I always do cross braces. I just feel like that's better. And I try to overbuild and overdo everything. So I throw an extra 4x4 in so when I walk up on this side so it can support my weight. So we'll head up there next, and I'll give you a view from the inside. So here we are. I'll try not to whisper, it's not hunting season. Here we are in what I call the hidden field banks. That's a view towards the road. And here is a dead spot. The banks has new models that have better views. And then these all have bow windows in them because I didn't know better. And I thought I could do both. And I like having the bow window. We just haven't ever used the bow window for anything hunting wise because my draw length as a tall guy is too much. I've mentioned that before. This is a window, I'm standing up now, that I put in after the fact, and we've talked about as a family putting more windows in for better views depending on where these are at. So this is the model my dad bought, and he bought this one that has the soundproofing in it. And I was worried about the critters. And the nice thing about these is they're pretty dang airtight. And I don't want to screw myself with this, but we haven't had a critter problem in these things yet. So what I did though is I put these on the ceiling from where I took out the foam to put windows in. And I think ceiling would be good too. I think it's insulation for the sound and bouncing off. So I would even add more, or maybe on the ones that don't have this, I could throw something in now knowing that the critters leave them alone. Again, Banks comes with a rubber mat. That's awesome. And my dad decided that we should have a carpet in here too. That's fine. I don't really care. I guess it's maybe overkill, but the more insulation, the better. And again, very, very comfortable for one person. A little tight for two, but a kid and a dad or kid and a mom, I think they would do just fine. This heater, this daisy heater, sunflower heater, more than enough. And this is a family favorite probably just because it's got the perfect heater in here just to crank and last forever. Another addition by my father. I tend to just go out the window, but you never know. Okay, so here you go. There's another view. I'm going to open this middle window in a second to give you a view of the hidden field, but nice little shot into here. It's fogging up a little bit because I've been running my jaws. Main food source or hidden food source right here. And then potential bow shot where the old chariot sits right now. So this one has a couple potential bow opportunities. And, you sit in these and you figure out where the windows need to go and what you need to do. So probably be an install of another window here. Probably black this window out entirely. It's probably not blacked out because there was nothing here. And then definitely a need for a window right here. And then we'll put that foam up on the ceiling. This is a little extra, so I'm just going to give you a suggestion as the father of some younger hunters. First of all, I would go over with them to make sure that they shut all the windows. Not to harp on them, but just to remind them that that's how you keep things nice. And I'm not even ornery, I'm just saying like that's just something to explain to them so they know what their actions result in over time. Another thing with this particular blind, and I understand why they did it, but Banks has magnets up here, and there are magnets in these window treatments. These window treatments come from Banks. In fact, right here in the corner, you can see where they're sewed in. Now, all you would have to do is put your magnets staggered the rest of the way down, and that would really, really, really help out. So that's a suggestion for Banks maybe, or maybe they've already figured it out, or something, a hack that you guys could do on your own. And then a little fatherly advice is just to remind them to make sure they shut their windows. And smart idea to put this on the outside, but it's going to fade more on the outside, so I'll probably pull this and then I'll make sure all these windows are shut because the season is over. But a way to get the window treated just on the inside would be okay, but this is smart because you open the window, you do nothing to expose yourself. So there's got to be some way to accomplish both. And for spots that you can't use the bow window out of, we probably just need to go ahead and bite the bullet, pun intended, so that for rifle season we have a good shot. So something permanent on the outside, camouflaged. And I'll put that on the to-do list for a blind improvement video. Quick video of the window material that the upgraded blinds come with. It is blacked out on one side, that is what you need, and camo on the other. Now, it's pretty noisy. I'm sure there's something else out there that would work. I think you got 2 layers of cloth, it would do about the same thing. Burlap is not enough. Burlap lets the light in, so you need blackout windows, and this is good stuff, but it is a little noisy. Not too bad. I mean, you're not going to be doing that when you take the window off. I understand, but just so you know. I took all the window treatments off except for the one at the door here, and I'm sitting, and I just want to do a quick swivel or pan of all the windows now that I took the window treatments off. I should also mention the blue painter's tape that you see. It's the stuff that works the best for holding material in place to cover your view if the deer don't see your legs or whatever else. So we're moving from the first window I showed you to the second. It does take a minute for the camera to adjust. Here's the window I installed. Sorry, I had to stand because the chair's in the corner. Another bow window, top to bottom, and there's definitely no shot there. So it's super tricky with windows in any blind to know what you actually need. So I have an idea to build my own permanent blinds and then put the windows in after the fact. So last window, this is where I was sitting, and then I'll just kind of go back the other way around. So current blind spot, there is a solution for that. Bow window, top to bottom. Installed window, dead center away from the door for better viewing. Bow window, top to bottom. Again, I mean, I guess, and I have had does walk right underneath me right here. So, I mean, you could shoot straight down, but you never know. You never know where you're going to be, what shot you can have. And then the last bow window over here. So you get an idea of this Banks. Good stuff, great high quality product, great door seals. And I think their strength is probably their door mechanism in terms of sealing. And I'm sure this is a good stand for scent control too, but some drawbacks with this model with what you can see, and then just hard for me as a traditional bow hunter to shoot a bow out of here. So live and learn. That's a wrap on my thoughts on Banks blinds. If it brings up any questions, comments, suggestions, or if you have your own thoughts on Banks and other types of blinds that you can buy, drop them in the comments below, please. I do hope to give you a tour of a redneck and a muddy and even an earth blind. I have friends that own those, and I'd love to pick their brains, get their thoughts, do a little field trip, go inside of them to give you more of a perspective. I forgot to mention earlier, we do have a permanent hexagon, and I do have a video of that. And I do plan on this winter building an octagon, kind of off the tutelage of a great buddy of mine, Brett Moravitz. And you probably should follow his channel, or definitely should follow his channel too. So thank you for watching today. I appreciate it, and it's a great day to be outdoors.